I personally avoid going there. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I haven't been posting in the past month because honestly I've been getting busy, and maybe I will share those updates soon. But in the meantime, I want to kind of just sit down and talk about the biased opinions of SF, because after posting the videos on apartment hunting and moving to SF, I've been getting comments on how dangerous SF is, and I really get that thought just because, as you can see in media, there's so much danger publicized about the city of SF, and I would say that is true to some extent, but not to the full extent, in that it's not the entire city of SF that is dangerous or that may seem dangerous. So I want to kind of break down where to go, where to avoid, why it's being publicized as such, and why it's so heavily perceived as such. And I think there was a comment asking me which neighborhood I moved to in SF, and I won't disclose like the exact neighborhood, but I'll say if we were to split SF into west and east, I live on the west side of SF, so that would be like from Pack Heights westward towards Ocean Beach and the Pacific Ocean, basically. I would say personally that's like the safer side. The more dangerous, or the more seemingly dangerous side, is on the east side, specifically in Tenderloin. So Tenderloin is, if I were to compare, Skid Row in LA. That's where the news happens about the drugs like the Pantanol, I think. I forgot the exact name of the drug, but it's like the really dangerous one that people consume, and that really has a huge toll on people's health, and that, according to the news, occurs in Tenderloin. Now, Tenderloin is close to other neighborhoods in SF, including Selma and other neighborhoods in the general downtown SF. So I personally avoid going there. It's not that I think that it's dangerous and there's gonna be harm, like physical harm, but for my emotional like security blanket, I would rather be driving elsewhere. But I would have to say downtown is where Union Square is and a lot of stores and shops are. So if you want to go, I think it's not as bad, just because there are different routes that you can take to get there. And there are definitely ways for you to avoid Tenderloin or the surrounding areas. And I'm going to take an example of my mom, who actually visited me over the past week. And she is one of the people who have really disliked SF to the core, because she would be watching all this news and say like, isn't SF dangerous? Like, why are we living there? Why are we moving there? Because the very first time that we came to SF together was by passing through Tenderloin. And I think it was also the weather that kind of played a role, because it really looked like kind of apocalyptic. The sky was yellow, like it wasn't even the fire, it was just like not the best condition in the weather. And so that's a moment that my mom told me not to move to SF ever in my life. And then 2 years forward, I told my parents that I wanted to move to SF, and my parents, especially my mom, was very against the idea. But over the past week, she changed her mind. She was like, oh my God, SF is very safe. We also happened to go to a store in downtown, and I was too scared to drive her because there was that moment when I almost got myself into an accident 3 times in a row, I think, in like the 30-minute time frame. So I didn't want to kind of get myself and my mom into a similar situation. So we ended up Ubering, and I told my mom repeatedly, like, there may be some sketchy areas on our way, but don't be surprised. But the thing is, we didn't see like any sketchy things, like it was all safe. And my mom was like, it was actually safe. Like, SF is so safe. I like SF. Like, her mindset changed like 180 degrees. And so the point is, it really depends on like where you go in SF. So obviously that's not the only place that I took my mom to. I went to other areas on the west side of SF where I reside in currently. And so all the time I was just like trying to make sure that we were going to like the place that SF truly is known for, and people might not really appreciate it as much just because of like the so much negativity in from the news and from the media. And you know, I'm not trying to dismiss everything that the news is saying. It's obviously like they're not trying to distort the truth. Like if I were to go to Tenderloin right now, I would probably be seeing like some people taking drugs or having taken drugs. So that's why I say that it's true to some extent, but not to the full extent. Another thing to take into consideration when you drive or when you go around SF is just be smart. Like as you would in any other city, you never know what's gonna happen. Like there's always gonna be some risks and some hints of danger imposed. So just be smart about where you go, where you park, what to leave in your car, which should be nothing, especially in SF, which brings me to the point of car theft. So SF is also really known for car theft, and that was like one of the main things that I was really concerned with when moving to SF, because my car windows are not tinted to the core, and that like some people tint their car windows like fully black, which I understand to be illegal, but I don't have that right now, and so people can pretty much see what's inside my car. And so in this situation, and in any other situation, you just would not leave your car just because like it is known for it, and I'm not gonna try to like dismiss that just because I'm pretty risk averse in that, and I don't really want to have my car broken into, which has never happened in over 2 years of living in the SF Bay. So I have been living in SF for about 3 months, never got my car broken into, and in the whole entire time that I've been in the Bay, I never got my car broken into. And even back when I was living in Menlo Park and I would be driving up to SF, like I never got my car broken into. It's basically, I've been safe. And it's because I've been just cautious with which streets that I would park my car and where I would go. The only thing that happened with my car is getting ticketed, and that's on my end because and it happened actually last night, well, 4 days ago. I basically parked in the street that was having street cleaning, and I didn't move my car because I misread my calendar and thought that it was not that date. Another time that I was ticketed for was when I didn't rotate my front wheel of the car in this like incline. That's also on my end. I truly did not know about that, but then I got ticketed and I'm fully aware of that now. So those 2 times were the only times that something happened to my car, and it's not dangerous. It's more like bringing self-awareness. And I think another thing is like I don't have like a luxury car, which might have also played into effect. It is one of the few car brands that are known to have like been subject to like the theft, like the vehicle theft, not vehicle theft, like the engine thing. I was mildly concerned with that, but I'm like, would people actually care about that now? Like I really don't really get the hype around it. I think it's usually like the loopy teenagers who would do that kind of stuff, and I have full faith and trust in the safety of my neighborhood, so I ended up kind of just like letting that concern fizzle. It is reasonable for people to think that SF is dangerous, especially for those who haven't visited SF, but I think it is worth visiting the city to see if it changes your mind. You know, it's a city, so in a typical city, there are some areas that may seem sketchy and that you would avoid, obviously. Like in LA, for example, you don't really go to downtown LA. It's kind of like that. So, you know, just be street smart about it, and I wouldn't worry too much. Like, I would say be cautious and be wary of your surroundings, but I wouldn't necessarily like go somewhere and be like, oh my god, would my car get broken into this time? Like the only concern I have right now is like, would my car be ticketed for my wrongdoings? So always make sure that you are, you know, just aware of what you're doing, where you are, and I think it should be all set. People have been asking me like, how's my life in SF been? And I would say it's been really nice. I might have shown in my home tour or my apartment hunting video about the views of SF from my apartment. You can see the Golden Gate Bridge and you can see the downtown SF, especially Salesforce Tower and another skyscraper building that I forgot. You can also see the tower, I forgot the name of it, but you can see that tower, that big one, from the Golden Gate Park. So you basically have like 180 or a little over 180 degrees view of SF, which is amazing because that's what really determines like the mood of the day. Like if it's gloomy, then I'm like kind of, you know, feeling moody, but if the sun's out, the weather is nice, and I can fully see like the bridge, the towers and everything, then, you know, it makes my morning onward. So that is really what gets me started. And then because I live on the top floor, I don't have to be concerned with the noise from upstairs, which I was having trouble with at my old place. And I think overall, the main things that I was looking for have been just checked off the list, and so that's why I would say that my life has been great. There other things are that I'm in the city, so it just like elevates my lifestyle because I don't have to drive like 40-50 minutes just to get to the city and then drive like another 40 to 50 minutes to get back home. So it's nice. There is a bit of traffic and it kind of reminds me of driving in LA, but it's not too much of a big deal. I would rather just be living in the city, concerned with the local traffic than like the highway traffic and whatnot, especially with the weather right now, because like there's gonna be a flood warning and whatnot. The only one thing that I'm like kind of sad about is my friends are and have been moving to the East Coast, so I feel like, oh my god, what was the purpose of my moving to SF? Because one of the purposes was to get closer to my friends as well. So that's for another time. I hope I was able to kind of talk about like this biased impression of SF and kind of, you know, make your views a little more holistic than before. And if not, maybe I can talk more about it. We'll see. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time, maybe with an update about why I was busy. Bye.